I would like to welcome everybody to our very first founder spotlight for the Startupx program. And I'm fired up. And wait a minute, I have to transition out of my podcast voice. This is an actual live event. It's live. We are live. I'm at my home office here in Detroit, Michigan, and you'll know it's live because within 5 minutes or less, the UPS guy will show up here and deliver another Amazon package. So my wife can't order everything at once on Amazon. She's got to order it throughout the day. So 10 to 12 times a day, I have the Amazon guy knocking on my door and the dogs are barking. But anyway, people want live, so we're live, and very excited about the Startupx program and the contest that we're doing. I'm sure you've seen it, and if you haven't, we're probably the first company within the first 12 months of being in business that's going to be featured on AppleTV. We're co-sponsoring an episode of the 2-minute drill with David Meltzer. So he's an advisor in the House of Bricks, and we're very excited about that opportunity, not for just us as the House of Bricks, but we know that all of us are one conversation away from changing the course of our business and our life. And the House of Bricks as a whole is a platform for people to share their story, inspire others, and transform lives and businesses and the industries that they serve. And now we're starting to focus, which I do have a little experience in the startup world, having been an entrepreneur for 27 years, but I am not going to be the guy at the 30-year high school reunion wearing my varsity jacket talking about I was the captain of the football team. It's all about the future and the vision of where the House of Bricks is going. And it's not about Adam House. I'm probably one of the least interesting people in our community. We've got some best-in-class CEOs, pro athletes, venture capitalists, investment bankers. So we are stacked with bricks in the House of Bricks, of people that are helping us build a strong foundation in business and accelerating growth and building a community where we can build together. And today, I'm very excited to introduce our founder spotlight, Mario. He joined the House of Bricks community a couple weeks ago, and he's also entered into our Startupx program. So Mario, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Good morning, Adam. Well, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you. So let's get a little fired up. I'm going to ask you some tough questions, but first, let's learn a little bit about you.
No, excellent. So I'm originally from Venezuela. I had the privilege of coming to the U.S. To Babson College, graduated from there, and basically that gave me the entrepreneurial spirit, really, where I went back to Latin America, in Bogota, Colombia, founded my first business focused on enterprise mobility and IoT solutions, working with SAP, very much focused in the pharmaceutical industry, and managed solutions around Ecuador, Colombia, Panama, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, all over Latin America, really, and sold that within 2 years. And I couldn't believe it at the time. Event went by very quickly. And with that, you kind of get into that serial entrepreneurial mindset. And I went 180 degrees completely to a different industry, where I jumped into the water treatment industry and brought in new purification systems to Dominican Republic, purchased some office space, very much with the mission of driving impact on the island, purifying the water there, given that the conditions were abysmal and it was a major problem. So I brokered basically a negotiation with Kinetico, an American multinational. They have incredible systems that are completely mechanical, so they're very ecological, and managed that for about 6 years. Sold that as well. We saved over 1 million bottles of plastic, made a big difference on the island, and which is really where I started working with different foundations, academies. I saw that, those are the heroes really on the ground, making the difference, but might not get as much recognition or support. And it basically started that drive, basically, that I wanted to really create massive impact. And it helped me form my latest startup, which is Knobl. We're now based in Austin. I came here with my wife and my toddler. He's just 19 months old. So we did the entrepreneurial dream, coming all together to Austin, Texas, which has been an incredible city, a vibrant ecosystem. And again, I'm grateful for the reception. And now we're based here in Capital Factory, which they call the center of gravity for startups, where it's been absolutely incredible to have access to mentors, advisors, a plethora of experience and knowledge. And now even more so that I got to meet you and join the House of Bricks and this incredible community. So I'm excited. It's been an incredible few months.
So we covered a lot there. You've had a couple exits. And you know what? I got to do something real quick. So you mentioned saving plastic. So I'm just going to run a little TV commercial for Liquid Death. If you're out there watching Liquid Death, I would like the House of Bricks to be an official sponsor of Liquid Death, or Liquid Death to be a sponsor of the House of Bricks. I'm a big non-plastic bottle water guy. I don't know why. I spend about $150 a week on water, but I live in my office and it's very convenient and it just tastes good. It's got to be the advertising. And so a couple exits. You're in Austin now. Tell us about the new venture, kind of where you sit today with it.
Excellent. So, it's been my co-founder and myself. It's my brother. We've done every business together, so we've had an incredible relationship. And right now we're at the seed stage. We were developing the app. We're both non-tech founders, but fortunately we've had an incredible team of people also working with us, outsourcing the project. And we ran a beta phase for about 3 or 4 months, running the app, making sure that the donations were going through, that it was all working perfectly. Just to give a background, we're a SaaS B2B platform focused on reducing turnover costs for businesses, incrementing their customer retention by innovating their corporate philanthropy. And the way we do this is by leveraging tech and AI. And so we've been focused on in that space for this time that we were running the beta phase with 200 to 300 users. That was going extremely well. We partnered with a company called Benevity. They give us access to over 2 million nonprofits, so that people have the freedom to choose their level of impact, the causes that most resonate to them. And now we're ready to launch. Now we're ready to start scaling, to start selling to different small, medium, large enterprises, which is what we've been waiting for. We're extremely excited for as well. And the moment that we've really been working for has been helped really by the fundraising that we've been doing with angel investors, that we've been able to recollect around $500,000 from angel investors, all via SAFE agreements. And we hope to do that for the next few months until we really jump into the VC rounds of looking to obtain around 1.5 million in about 15 months or so. And that's obviously going to be, a long round that we're going to be opening, and a lot of our attention is going to go there as well, to start scaling rapidly, aggressively. It's always talked about that speed of execution is key in the startup world, which I completely agree with. However, I prefer making sure that we're in the right direction before speed itself.
You must have already taken a course that I haven't released yet. So it's called Entrepreneurship Made Simple. And we always start with the strategy, right? It's an acronym for strategy, innovation, mindset, pattern recognition, leverage, and execution. And fortunately, I picked the perfect acronym because each letter is in the right place. And no matter where you are in your business, as you're making decisions, you have to have a strategy, right? Where do you want to go? And you have to understand that how you get there is going to vary. And the more decisions you make, the earlier you make them, the more feedback you get for your business. And ultimately, you're still going to hit that destination and goal that you want to, but you have to be flexible. The second letter, innovation, right, is people always think like, oh, I got to innovate. And they sit around and come up with 1,000 ideas that have to pile on to the 1,000 ideas that they came up with the day before. So innovation is actually creating the space to think, but also the ability to not do things. And that will really, help you innovate. And then perfectly, all my messaging talks about mindset and transformation. The M is in the middle, because that is when your dreams meet reality. So you came up with a strategy, you try to innovate, mindset kicks in, and you're like, wow, this is way harder than I thought it was. And then the P, which I'm going to ask you about once I get through the acronym, is patterns. So you look for patterns in the strategy, patterns of what you've innovated. And people miss this a lot, which is patterns in your own mindset, right? Do you have self-limiting beliefs? Did you inherit certain things from your parents, from the people around you? Like there's all kinds of patterns that can affect you as the entrepreneur, which is the most important thing because you are the jockey driving the horse. And then once you have that, then it's the time to leverage. So a lot of entrepreneurs try to leverage at the beginning. Hey, how can I automate this? Well, you have to do all the hard work to simplify things. It's never easy. It's complex to actually make things simple. And then lastly, what you mentioned on is execution, because once you have those, then you can execute, you can scale. But I was going to ask you about patterns anyway. So you're a multi-time entrepreneur. I don't call people serial entrepreneurs. The only cereal I know is cereal in a box. So we'll stick with multi-time entrepreneur, whatever it is, 3-time founder. What have you learned? What'd you learn in the first business that helped you in the second? And what'd you learn in the second that's kind of helping you now?
Yeah, it's a great question. In the first business, I lost about a year to a year and a half almost, really seeking perfection. We were developing the MVP, and it was one of the greatest mistakes that I told myself never to make again. Where it was never just good enough. We were always even tweaking the smallest things, the smallest features, whether it's color, text, the different things that we want to provide for the client. And in that year, you're obviously incurring multiple costs. You're even losing yourself potential market share while the competition might not have a perfect product, but they already have it out there. And they're receiving much more valuable feedback than what you're getting trying to build something that's perfect in your own mindset. And so when we released the product, to our clients, they came up with a range of questions that was absolutely nothing to deal with what we were actually working on at the time. And so, fortunately, things went extremely well for us, and we were able to scale very quickly and be flexible, to your point, and adapt. But that definitely, hit me hard, and at the time it was discouraging, and I was feeling frustrated and nervous. But again, the resilience factor came in, and I was very fortunate to be guided by excellent people around me, and we found a solution for it. And then on the second business, I brought that forward. And it was an incredible experience. We very much went quickly. We established this negotiation, set up the barriers to entry, making the exclusivity deal, went into the island, not knowing absolutely anyone there in Dominican Republic, established a few key relationships. And then, things that can go absolutely wrong. We had a terrible experience with one of our engineers, and it just didn't go well for the first few installations. And fortunately enough, again, showing up, making sure that as a leader, you take the blame when things go wrong, and then celebrate your team for when things actually go right. And fortunately, again, I'm not an engineer. Went into this industry that was completely installing these systems, but I got surrounded by an incredible group of individuals, group of engineers that believed in the vision, that it went much further than just a business model or the company itself. It went to actually helping people have good water in the island. And that just got transmitted throughout the entire company. So it was just a lot of times that you're going to face setbacks, challenges that at one moment you don't even sleep and you still think about it. But if you really just, maintain yourself on ground and keep yourself very much nimble, you're going to be able to find a way. And so that's something that's helped me out very much so. And I'm still facing it now. Even with Knobl, we jumped in and we had to do a pivot in our business model. I went to Oracle, to one of the events that they had. They had plenty of VCs and investors there, and that they were just getting experience with the founders, make sure that their pitches are right, et cetera. I knew that we aren't VC ready at the moment, but I still wanted that experience. And that was a few months ago. And they said, listen, you're running into a chicken and egg problem. and you're going to have to focus or redesign your strategy. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. But fortunately enough, again, that adaptability comes into play, and it helped me form the SaaS business model that we have now. So innovation also goes into your business models that I hadn't thought about before. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just made it better. It fit in, and that unlocked massive opportunities of partnerships, investment that we got from angel investors. So getting that feedback was crucial, and it made all the difference.
Are you familiar with an MVC?
Most viable client?
Minimum viable client. So I want everyone to know out there, Mario and I did not rehearse this event, and he's not trying to get favor with me to win the contest. I'm just telling you, he's talking my book. And this is why I'm featuring other founders, right? You have to learn from other people's experiences. It's not going to skip the challenges of the struggle zone for you, but there are learnings along the way that can optimize your time in the struggle zone. And so I coach and advise entrepreneurs all the time about developing an MVC. So exactly what you just said, an MVP, you'll either spend too much time making it, and by the time you make it, it's either irrelevant because someone else got to market before you, or you get to market and guess what? Your customers have no use for the MVP that you just came up with. And so I tell people all the time, get a minimum viable customer that will create your minimum viable product. And then ultimately they will become your most valuable customer because they're bought in to what you're doing. They want new features, right? So you look at the grand problem, the big problem that you want to solve, right? Break it into small segments. And what is the problem with the least amount of resistance, shortest time to solve? Then you get that traction and start building towards the bigger problem, because the problem that you're solving may change. But most importantly, what you think is not necessarily what your customers want. It's just like with my community, I could come on and talk about whatever it is I want, but the House of Bricks is about the people that are in the community and how can they serve and help each other. And then how can I serve them based on my experience. So what you said there's absolutely spot on. So I should be charging for these events, but you're going to absolutely do well in the startup contest just because of, some of your experience. So talking about the mental aspect of being an entrepreneur, you mentioned resilience. We're very big on mindset here. And it's not just your own mindset, because you mentioned also the power of community, advisors, mentors. When someone reaches a place where you want to go in life, they have just a universal power to help you get to that same place. And so I've always had advisors. My first business, I just thought I knew everything and got lucky and sold it for a lot of money. But I learned in that process that, I don't know everything. And as soon as I started leveraging advisors from different areas of life, whether it was an investment banker, people that cared about me as the entrepreneur, my business career just had exponential growth. And so people say like, oh, I can't afford an advisor, I can't afford a coach, I can't afford a community. Well, there's three ways you pay in life. One is with your time, one is with your money, and the worst is missed opportunity. So yeah, you're not spending $5,000 on an advisor. Well, guess what? You just wasted 60 days of opportunity, and your business is in the same or a worse spot than it was 60 days ago because you continued to do the wrong things. So having an advisor, mentor, not pitching my book here, find someone that's where you want to be and pay them the money. Everything in life has a cost, and the most expensive things are free. So when you take something for free, you're actually paying for it because you don't value what it is that you're actually getting because you didn't earn it. So we look at people that win the lottery, right? They're bankrupt in 2 years. Their family hates them. Everything blows up because they didn't really earn it, other than being one of those people at the gas station that's taking 10 minutes to buy lottery tickets. And I just want to buy a cup of coffee and I got to wait for you to run your Keno numbers. But anyway, that's a whole rabbit hole I won't go down. But the the point of it all is there's learned experience in the process. There's learned experience in being in the right community, and then having the power of advisors. But with the resilient piece, what kept you like on track? Because I know there's times you probably wanted to quit, you wanted to give up. Like what kept you on track?
No, and I mean, that's exactly right what you mentioned about the advisors. Those same advisors, or that community, for example, what you've built, that house of bricks. I always say that as founders, you have to have a support network, and some people might have like 1 out of 3 in that support network. They, for example, very much are reliant on their family, which is understandable. That's unconditional love. They're always there for you. They always give you that support, and it's absolutely massive and crucial. Whether it's parents, whether it's your wife or your spouse, whether it's your brothers, it just provides that support when you're maybe in a tough place or in a challenge, and it'll keep you going forward. But sometimes you might need that second level of support, which is, for example, advisors or people that might give you much more raw feedback, something that you might not want to hear, but you need to hear. And they give you those harsh critiques, that constructive criticism that other people might not have said so, just because they're either afraid of hurting your feelings, or they just think that there's another way of giving you support, right? I think it's absolutely crucial. And then 3 is really founders to founders. I think that as founders or entrepreneurs, I've made that same mistake myself. We're sometimes in that tunnel vision where you're so focused on your startup, where you want to go, seeking, if you're looking for investment, you're looking for those investors. That's where your main mindset is. And you kind of disregard the value that really comes from other entrepreneurs in different stages of life. So you're an entrepreneur yourself, Adam. You're at a completely different point than a lot of us. So I always say, look a few steps behind of people that you can also help out, and then look also some steps ahead of people who've just been there before, have done it. Business at its principles or foundations go through very much of the same things. It doesn't matter what industry you're really in. You have to be willing to hear that. So connecting with other founders is absolutely primordial. And that's one of the reasons that I love your community, is because I've been able to find that. And so I'm always on the lookout for different advisors or guidance in different areas, of life and my business. So I've been very fortunate to have had incredible advisors throughout my career as an entrepreneur. And I'm still getting guided. I'm still learning. I always think about it the same way with the top performers or top athletes. I'm a huge sports enthusiast myself. And I always go even to tennis, for example. I mean, if Roger Federer could be winning Wimbledon, let's say 7 times, and he's still having a coach, or Djokovic or Nadal, for example, and they're winning all these majors that nobody else can win, and they're still always looking out for that coach, still listening, then if they're humble enough to do it and they keep performing, there's a reason for it. And as businesses and entrepreneurs, I think we have to do the same. I think that in the business world, we should look out for much more of that coaching aspect, that advisor role. I think it's absolutely crucial, and you have to be willing to listen to that feedback, and that'll unlock plenty of doors, opportunities, and ultimately your potential as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned tennis. So I don't know if you saw it or not, but about a month ago, I went down to Miami for the Aspire conference, and I got to do a live podcast with Rick Macy, probably one of the greatest coaches, not just in tennis, but of all time, because what he does, right, to be able to spot talent at 8 years old, and imagine all the variables. Like, is this kid going to quit? How are they going to develop, during puberty? Do they really want to do this? Like, his ability to spot that talent. But the point I'm making there is even the greatest athletes in the world have coaches. Like Michael Jordan needed Phil Jackson. Tiger Woods has a swing coach. Like, who could actually teach Tiger Woods how to play golf? But the value that a coach or an advisor gives you is they're not in the business. Okay. They can help you work on the business. And like you said, as an entrepreneur, you're trying to make payroll, you're alone, you're fearful, you have anxiety. Like, how am I going to get through this? And you're just in the weeds, and they're able to come in at a 30,000 foot view and just be like, hey man, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Because humans are creatures of habit, good and bad, right? How many people wake up and check their cell phone every day, check your social media? Like, are those really good habits? No, we know they're not, but we get addicted to the endorphin rush and, kind of just in that same cycle. And so coaches, advisors will help recognize patterns, right, in you and in your business, help you break the good ones or bad ones, lean into the good ones. So again, we can't say it enough, the power of community. And I see a lot of promotion on social media of how to 10x your business. And of course, most of those, if not all, are gimmicks, but I do teach people how to 10x your life. And you spoke to it a little bit, and it's really, you got to have three types of relationships in your life. You have an advisor, right? Someone that's where you want to go, and they're giving that authority and energy transfer to help you get there, right? Then you have peers that you work with, like co-founders. Hey, we're in this together. We're struggling. How do we grow? You're doing this. It's working. Okay, let me try that. That's the power of peer-to-peer relationships. And I've said this, and I'm going to keep saying it, where a lot of people miss out in life. Just telling you, if you're listening, take this one thing. Find someone else to mentor. Like, I don't care where you are in life. If you work at a gas station, you can find someone that doesn't have a job and teach them how to get a job at a gas station. So my grandfather, he's raised on welfare, single mom, and he always taught me the power of giving, whether it was a penny, a quarter, $1, $10, $1,000, whatever it is. So I challenge you today to release the power of giving over your life. And that's really the message of the House of Bricks. So we don't want people coming into our community and selling Tupperware. We're not a multi-level marketing community. It's if you enter with the give first mindset, it is a universal principle. It's proven over time that you will receive 10 times what you give. And I have proved that it's actually even more than that. Over my life, I've always stretched myself, and that's not to talk about my giving mindset, but it's to empower you to challenge yourself to give more than you have, and you will actually receive 10 times more. And what I'm learning from David Meltzer now is you actually have to receive that 10x and then go back out and ask for 10x more. And like, as entrepreneurs, we're very giving people, right? We'll sacrifice whatever to climb the mountain we want to climb. But we have a tough time receiving from other people. So if anyone wants to send me a gift, I'm happy to take it today, because I need practice. So find me on LinkedIn and send me a free cup of coffee. I'd love it. Or Liquid Death. This episode's brought to you by Liquid Death. I'm going to keep plugging them until they're a sponsor. I want them to be a sponsor, maybe in the Startupx program. Who knows? But as we wrap up here, Mario, I mean, first of all, great to connect with you, founder to founder. Thanks for participating in our House of Bricks community and the Startupx program. I want to see you on the 2-minute drill and just blow your business out of the water. But as you'll learn quickly, there's no gimmicks in the House of Bricks. It's hard work, discipline, accountability, but that's going to create exponential outcomes. So any closing thoughts from you as we wrap up today?
No, I just love what you said about giving. It's actually very much the ethos that we have at Knobl. We're really all about empowering everybody to be a change maker. And it's one of the driving forces that we have, where we're democratizing philanthropy and pushing or showing people a new way, that whether you have the money or not to donate, there are plenty of ways to cause impact in someone's life. So thank you as well for that message, something that definitely resonates deeply in me. And I'm just grateful for this talk this morning, to be in the House of Bricks. Looking forward to the opportunity to form part of the Startupx program and competition. So again, it's just exciting times and loving the journey. So thanks again for having me, Adam.
Absolutely. And you are at a new stage as an entrepreneur. I'm assuming you said you have a young 18-month-old, right? So first two businesses probably didn't have a kid. Well, I have 4 sons, 3 are teenagers. So value that time. The advice I can give you is just the importance of communication with the missus. Like, hey, you know, this is, I'm in grind mode, we're building, and, you know, don't feel the pressure of having to do quantity time. It's more quality intentional. So definitely block time for the young one, because before you know it, they'll be taller than you. And I'm still trying to get all 4 of my kids to follow me on Instagram. So sons, if you're listening, please drop a comment, said you actually follow and like your dad on Instagram. I'd love it. So want to thank you for joining. The House of Bricks Startupx contest is still open for application. So my guy, Paul, who makes sure everything goes smoothly, will probably drop that in the chat here, who's going to take on Mario, the Mario brothers, Mario and his brother. But hey, man, thanks for being on. This is awesome. And really appreciate you joining today, and best of luck in the contest.
Thanks again, Adam. Appreciate it. All founders who are also supporting me and viewing this live event, join the House of Bricks. It's absolutely worthwhile. So Adam, thanks again for the time today.
You got it. Thanks, Mario. See you, everybody.
Have a great one.